Hey loves, welcome back. Sometimes ago I noticed the hair at the edges of my head looking strange. It looked as if the hair has disappeared and I was wondering what happened here. How come I didn't take note? Is this how it has always been, or I just don't get it? It looked as if I took a scissors to it and I knew I didn't do that. So I was wondering, like brainstorming on what could have happened to the hair, because I didn't see any strands of hair on my body. I didn't see it on the ground. I did not see it on my pillow. So what could have happened to my hair? Like, it literally just disappeared. If I should show you now, it has grown back, but the spot is still there. This area, it looked to me as if there was never lock there, and I knew that I locked the hair that were there. So what could have happened to this hair? After a while, I started to take note of what I'm doing to the hair, the thing that is happening to the hair there, and how it looks, and different kind of things. I just want to know what happened. Okay, so shortly after that, I got to know. I got to know the secrets to the hair at the edges, what is happening to it, why it thins out, why it falls off. Luckily for me, or should I say luckily for a fellow LOCS sister that came online and complained about the hair at the edges of her hair, and that should be Tikara Ann, and I felt, yeah, I know the secret, this is what happened. So I was able to like send a message to her and let her know this is what happened, and my dear, it is normal. Okay, so today guys, I'm going to explain to you, I'm going to share with you what happens to the hair at the edges, why it thins out, why it breaks off, and whatever it is that is happening to your lock at the edges, this is it. So number one thing that you will need to know is that the hair at the edges of your head are not as dense as the hair at the other part of your head. They are not as thick as the rest of the hair on your head, and sometimes the strands of hair at this portion of your head are not as thick as the rest of the hair on your head. This is what I have noticed, and if you look at it properly, you will notice the same thing on your head. Okay, and then number two thing is that this hair at the edges of your head has sometimes, most of the time, different textures to the hair at the other part of your head. That is why sometimes you notice some people having 4B and 4C hair on their head, same head. You notice some people having 3B, 3A and 3C, 3C and 3B. Okay, some people even have like 3 different texture of hair on their head. As for me, my texture is the same, but the density is different. Okay, and number 3 thing that you should take note of, our hair sheds every day. Okay, and because of the characteristics of the hair at the edges of our head, it's more visible at those spots, those areas where the hair are not as dense, neither are they of the same texture with your hair. So when the hair sheds off, it shows on these spots because it becomes less dense and it becomes shorter. So if you're wondering what is happening to your hair, those are the things that are making them to appear that way. So the day that I noticed that there was no hair at this particular area, this particular spot of my hair, that must have been when the hair shedded. The hair must have been broken, and then when it shed, okay, when it sheds off, it's looking as if I took a scissors to my head. So I got to understand that. So if something similar had happened to you, most likely that was what happened. Okay, so let's talk about things that you shouldn't be doing to your hair, things that you want to make sure you don't cause the breakage and the thinning of this hair. All right, number one thing you don't want to be doing, if you are the type that love to apply edge control, you want to make sure that before you apply edge control on your locks, make sure that the edges are slightly wet. This will ensure that the hair stays sleek for a long time. Number 2, you don't want to use harsh products that are filled with alcohol, petroleum, or even wax. This can cause the hairline to suffocate, leading to thinning out, breaking, or even dryness of the hair. And dryness of the hair is detriments to the hair. So number 3, whatever edge control that you're using, you don't want to use it daily. Using it daily kind of manipulates the hair at the edges more. The less manipulation that you apply to your hair, the more the hair will be able to strive. And then number 4 is that just let the hair be. I've seen a couple of sisters with lock that don't do anything to the hair at the edges. I don't do anything to the hair at the edges of my hair. It's not as if I'm guaranteeing you or I'm saying that I don't want to do anything. Like, I'm just being careful, okay? And if I'm going to do anything at all, it would be like an occasional thing, okay? Something that, all right, I just want to look snatched more than normal, or like more than my everyday kind of look. So of course it's not everyday thing, right? So the thing that you then need to know, to understand and accept, is that sometimes the hair at the edges, no matter how much careful that you are, just because this hair sheds, okay, that is why sometimes you see some of the lock hanging by the strands. It's either because at a particular time the hair shedded, and you know that hair that sheds on the lock remain on the locks, and when this happens, it kind of weighs down the lock, okay, that particular strand of lock. It creates tension on the new growth, the new hair growth at the roots, and this could also cause breakage. All right, this is something that happens. It's kind of natural, so when it happens, you just have to accept it, like, okay, it is happening, right? At least that was what I did. Another thing that you have to accept and do it is the fact that the strands, the size of the locks at these edges could be causing the problem, okay? Like if you have uniform sizes of lock on your head, like those that have established grid on their head, of course you know that grid actually has a lot to do with similar sizes of lock on your head. And if you have similar sizes of lock, it means that some of the locks are going to be thinner than the other, you know, in those areas that are not that dense, like the edges. So if the edges are looking as if they are thinning, or they are breaking, or they're not locking, all right, so the reason why they are likely not to lock as fast as the rest of the strands of lock on your head is because locking of hair requires much strands of hair for it to lock and look locked, okay, and then the hair on this spot are not that much, so it takes longer time for it to lock up, and sometimes it doesn't lock up, you know, depending on the texture of your hair. If it is Afro kinky hair, it will lock up eventually, but if it is the soft texture kind of hair, it will take a very long time and it will look to you as if it is not locking up. So what you would need to do, which I did and it worked out for me, is for you to like combine the locks, add to the strands of hair on that spot, making it to be bigger. Like I think I did something similar. This particular lock was much thinner. I combined like this size to it, but as you can see, it still breaks off, but it's much more bigger than the rest of the size of the lock. Even next to it, it's bigger. So also this, what I usually do to this one refused this one refused to stay locked. So whenever I'm doing my retie, I usually combine it, and of course after combining, you can see that the size is bigger, okay, and shortly after combining, maybe like a week or 2 weeks, or maybe after 1 or 2 washes, some strands slip off as well, but I've been able to maintain the integrity of the hair with that practices that I'm doing. I know that at the end of the day, I'm going to be experiencing less breakage, okay, just because I am not forcing the few strands of hair at that spot to lock. I'm not forcing it to do anything. I'm just letting it be. So whenever I need to like tidy up the hair at these edges, I just brush it back or add the few strands, the short strands, to the block next to it, and that way I know that after a while I'm experiencing less breakage, okay, and you know, there was a time I was having pains in those areas as well. That was because I was forcing a few strands of hair at that spot to, you know, combine, lock and all. Then I had to stop, okay, because I was just, you know, giving myself so much discomfort. So ever since I've started letting the hair be, there has been so much difference. Of course, I wish I recorded the time that I lost all the hair on this spot, this particular area, okay, because right now it has grown back. As you can see, I don't know if you can see this one, it has grown back. This particular one completely disappeared before. So let's talk about if you lost the hair at this strand, what you are supposed to do, what you are likely to do that will work for you. Okay, before I say that, you need to understand that there are so many things that could cause loss of hair at these edges of your head. Number one is, you know, postpartum hair loss, postpartum hair loss. There are some people that lose hair when they are pregnant, and there are some people that lose hair when they are at the nursing stage, after giving birth, after delivery. It could be what is happening to you, all right? And there are some people that it could be due to over manipulation of the hair. If you are the type that pack your hair all back, like you create so much tension, something like this, you are packing your hair and you're pulling it back. If you are the type that do this kind of thing all the time, then you are likely to be losing the locks at the edges, all right? Less manipulation works best, okay? Letting the hair be works best. I think my previous video I talked about things that causes this thing to happen. What you want to do to regain, to grow back the hair at the edges, is for you to be applying nourishing oil, the particular one that works best for you, because there are some people that react to some kind of oil. So if the type I'm going to be mentioning you react to this, you just have to look for the one that is going to work for you. Number one oil that you want to be applying to your hair henceforth is one, castor oil, Jamaica oil, the original one, coconut oil if it works for you, rosemary oil. Those 4 types of oil works wonder, okay? So whichever one that works for you, as long as you are not reacting to any one of them, you're going to be surprised, you're going to be amazed at what will happen. But the most important thing that you need to do at this stage is for you to let it be, and for you to be patient, okay? You're not going to be looking at your mirror every day and wondering what is happening, whether it is growing or not. If you do that, it will appear to you as if it is not growing. So you need to be patient and wait, okay? So thank you once again for tuning in, guys. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to my channel if you love the video. Stay blessed, guys, stay beautiful, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.